In a game that literally has the word survival in the name, a term that arguably was birthed through horror games originally, it makes sense for the same tone to drop in now and then and creep you out a bit. But what scares you the most? Well, we did a poll to find out. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share around, and let's get into it. So in at number 10 is the Palovia, a trending favourite in recent polls. Nothing serves closer to an unexpected jump scare anywhere than from the big badgers. Keep those watchful eyes peeled for tiny mounds of dirt across both redwoods and snow biomes, because if missed, you'll find their incredible range to dismount and stun you in place, left open to finish you off whilst defenseless. And especially in certain artifact caves, can tense you up as you gingerly peer around each corner, praying they won't jump scare you again, or turn tail and run. Thankfully, a large mount, shield, or quick bow reactions can be a quick respite, as long as you keep your cool. In at number 9 is the Seeker. Stranger things lurk in the deep for any explorer, with this flying Chulu being one that almost always catches you unaware, with a grotesque demi-gorgon appearance to boot, sporting tentacles around its mouth to gnaw your face off and turn your lights out. Because that is their purpose, a counter to anyone using a light petal source to keep Nameless at bay, or hunt for reapers, in turn attracting them to you, offering an ear-popping whoosh sound as you attempt to swat them away. The problem is that same light is also buffing them with a 2x melee damage and regeneration boost, so make sure to turn your lights off if looking for a quicker fight, and especially on Aberration can provide a handy oil source for anyone not prepared to venture above ground. In at number 8 is the Arthroplora. Ticking the creepy crawly box, it's not without a rush of fear when running into these giant centipedes. Residing in the darkest cracks of the deepest caves in original maps, though later found out in the wild too, running into one unprepared can see you whittle away to your undies, because if spotted by one first, can shoot its corroding spit from range and break your armor instantly. Even if riding a mount, and any melee attacks on foot can dramatically reduce your weapon durability, making them feared in any scenario. Though a well-aimed ranged weapon can deal whopping amounts of damage, 3 times as much, so can and should be the best counter against the shiny carapace, with a huge advantage of drinking bug repellent to bypass undetected and fear crawly encounters no more. In at number 7 is the Rockwell Node. Perhaps the most unsightly creatures in the game. Fortunately, only need to be looked upon if attempting the final boss of the survival series. As noted by you, bearing a similar appearance to Helena's depiction of Rockwell, with liquor-like disfigured faces, mantis claws, sprawled tentacles and fleshy strings holding them in place. They merely serve as checkpoints to destroy in facing Rockwell's final form, needing to slay the many sprouting tentacles before turning your attention to these mounds of mush. Fortunately, with so much action happening at once, you might be forgiven for not realizing how haunting they really are. But spend a few seconds to get an up-close look at these scrapped versions of the main antagonist, and you may wish to wash your memory clean. In at number 6 is the Kappasuki. Arguably the first jump scare initiating arrival to ARK, and personally was exactly that. For anyone unbeknowing travelling near any swamp regions will quickly be introduced as to why it's a very bad idea on foot or on any small to medium mount. Hearing the snarl of a water-based carnivore immediately followed by its pounce, skipping your heartbeat and leaving you helplessly within its jaws to be carried around until your death. Fortunately for you, a simple pike in hand can go a long way if you've got the health and armor to tank, having usually quite low health to dispose of before your demise, or even a shield for the quick-witted can prevent a grab completely. But either way, a guaranteed apprehension when nearing any swamp will be the doctor's orders following your first encounter. In at number 5 is the Tuso Tooth. A reason most plucky bobs rarely dive deep into the sea unless prepared, and another fond first memory for me. Finally, building the courage to explore the deep blue to, without warning, discover a cluster of swirling giant tentacles to surround you, revealing a seriously giant squid, grabbing either you or your tame and not letting go until some lovely red letters adorn your screen. Undoubtedly will nerve you to keep your wits about when diving down again, especially with a large pool of health and high DPS to attempt to fight back against. Even riding the supposed Giga of the ocean, the Moser, can result in the same fate, with the best counter possible being a ridden Basilo, not being able to be grabbed by one, or really a Tuso of your own to finally even the odds and settle your underwater fears for a while. In at number 4 is the Blood Stalker. A lovable nod to arachnophobes everywhere. Its appearance alone isn't just one to be grimaced at, despite its close-up 4 compound eyes staring into your soul. Its ever-watchful lurking becomes a never-ending treacherous journey, unknowing if one is ready to spring into action from high up on trees, snaring you and pulling towards its grasp as you desperately struggle to free yourself, likely ending up in its clutches to get the literal blood sucked out of you or dropped to an imminent doom. Despite its creepy appearance, jagged movement, or lying in wait for you, a simple pike and parachutes can go a long way to relieve your struggle and hit the floor safely before attempting to run away, and with one well-timed shot can be brought down to ground level to behave much more erratically but less likely to web you, and with a few blood packs in your inventory can be completely disregarded in worry, even rewarding you with a tame if possessing enough. In at number 3 is the Nameless. The chupacabras of ARK by far make the journeying of any blue zone or beyond unprepared, a literal living minefield with any ground at any moment unearthing like a spawn from Satan an army of hellish beings to stalk and surround you. Worst, still able to emerge even through foundations of a base, hellbent on slaughtering you and your tames. With anyone at any time able to shift into an alpha state, summoning even more Nameless to pursue you. However, a simple light pet or charge light emittance can quickly turn the tides into your favour, reducing their health, regen and becoming much weaker. In fact, needed to farm for Nameless venom. But worse still, if left ignored, can summon an even mightier, scarier foe, conveniently being the next on this list. In at number 2 is the Reaper. Fittingly being a nod to one of the most scariest franchises around, the Xenomorph can appear in a variety of shapes and sizes, but in any form, the sight of disturbed dirt bounding towards you to sprout a menacingly large sentient alien, freezing you still with its glowing white eyes and ear-piercing screech is a first experience you'll wish you could forget. With an incredibly tough natural armor, quick movement, piercing bite, sleep-inducing torpor attack and home run launching tail swipes, the sheer sight alone unprepared is enough to get you running for the hills. And even prepared, needing a light pet or charge can quickly see the tides turned against you, surrounded by more than one especially. Extreme caution, high armoured tames and enough firepower to contend Ripley herself should be at the ready if planning to fight these acidic, blood-curdling, screaming fiends. But there's something to warrant even more caution, and before we get to that, let's take a quick look at the creatures that didn't just quite make the cut. And here it is in number 1, the Summoner. Found within only one area, a grotesque and creepy place to venture as it is, will find you encounter what first appears to be a giant closed petal flower thing stalking and searching its home, with you quickly discovering what happens when finding its prey, teleporting to you in an instant, revealing its fleshy appendages of teeth and eyes, bellowing an ungodly sound that will make your skin crawl, and sweat pour as panic sets in as you attempt to make an escape, because retaliation can quickly turn south. Whilst its attack projectiles can be dodged, its ability to spawn a variety of skin rash infected variants of the worst creatures you can think of, all in pursuit, will present a imminent death. And the best remedy is to run. Like sentinels pursuing Neo, you'll be stressed to boost as quick as you possibly can, with ranged weapons, perhaps some counter to hit back at the random times it drops its shield, and if attempting to pick up mutagen, unless seriously prepared, there's really no other choice. But was it your choice? Comment below, let me know. What more top 10s would you like to see in the future? My name's Raasclark. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and as always, peace out.